If I can have everybody's attention, please. Let's go through these 5 questions, one of which you couldn't get right because of me, but you'll know how to do it after today because today's lesson is all about it. Number 3.
I got that one right.
And then all the other ones, you should be able to get right on your own. So, let's go to number 1, which says if the measure of angle 3 is 80, find the measure of angle 8. So, we come over here, and where we see angle 3, we write in an 80. Did you all do that on your paper?
Yeah.
Everybody do that? Okay. I'm going to show you 3 different ways to do this. Okay? Actually, no, I'm not. I'm going to show you 2 different ways to do this. Now, is this angle acute or obtuse? What is it? Acute. Anybody here got an Italian grandmother? Like 4'11", maybe a mustache? Not
Yeah.
sure.
No.
Now, if you got an Italian grandmother, they come up to you like this. Don't worry about it. He comes up, they go, oh, you're such a cute little boy. They grab you by the cheek, they shake you back and forth. You're like, oh, grandma, come on, man.
Why choose Jerry? Like, I know.
I'm telling you, that's what Italian grandmas do, right? You got Italian grandmas, you ever grab you by the cheek and go, oh, you're so cute. That's what they do, especially when you're little. They do it all the time. And some Italian grandmas still do it to you when you're 6'3".
It's annoying.
Yes, very much so. Okay. Now, an acute angle is Italian angle. This is acute, and angle 8 is angle 8 acute. No, angle 8 is a German angle. Obtuse.
It's big now.
Right? Like something Hitler would say, right? In one of his speeches. All guttural stuff. Obtuse. Now, when one of them is acute and one of them is obtuse, what do you know?
Difference.
No, come on, talk to me. When one of them is acute and one of them is obtuse, what do you know about those 2 angles? They are not congruent. When they're both acute, they're congruent. When they're both obtuse, they're congruent. When one is acute and one is obtuse, what do you know about them? They are not complementary. They're supplementary. They add up to 180. Now let me think about why. Ready? What does acute mean?
Cute.
Acute means less than
90.
90. What does obtuse mean? Between 90 and 180. So if you got one that's less than 90 and the other one's more than 90, when you add them up, you ought to get 180, right? 90, 90? Okay. So 1 acute plus 1 obtuse has to add up to 180. This is acute, this is obtuse. 100 minus 80 is, 180 minus 80 is 100. So the answer to number 1 is 100. That's one way to do this question, but it's not the only way. Another way to do the question. Let's get out our technological computer skills. I highlight that area. I'm going to do drag and drop. Ready? I take this point, I drag it, I drop it right there. Where does the 80 land? 5, 6, 7, or 8? 7. Lands right there, agree? What do you know about those 2 angles?
They make 180.
They make 180, they're half of a circle. How much is a whole circle? 360. So half a circle is 180. So I just do 180 minus 80 is 100. And then that makes sense because isn't 100 plus 80 180?
Yes.
Okay. So that's one way to figure out number 1. Actually, 2 ways to figure it out. One is the technique where you do drag and drop. Where does it land? The second technique is where you look at whether they're acute or obtuse. Okay. Now, number 2 refers to the same diagram. So let's do them both the same way. Measure of angle 1 is 110. What about the measure of angle 8? Now, is angle 1 acute or obtuse?
Obtuse.
Better said, is it German or Italian?
German.
German. It's obtuse. Now,
Now.
hope I didn't get any on you guys. Since this is 110, angle 8, is it acute or obtuse? So if this is obtuse and it's 110, what's 8?
110.
110. The other way, let's do drag and drop. Ready? I drag angle 1, it's going to land right on top of angle 5. What kind of angles are these 2 here? They are congruent. What's the word for it? Starts with a V? Vertical. Very good. So therefore, they have to each be 110. So whichever way you prefer, Stephen, to look at this, no, focus. Whichever way you prefer to look at this is all good. Maybe you can look at it both ways, and it makes sense. Okay, now let's take a look at number 3. So numbers 1 and 2, you should have known how to do. Number 3, you did not know how to do, and that is totally my fault.
I know how to.
Unless you happen to remember from last year, how'd you do it?
I added 94 and 23.
Okay, what about them?
Subtracted by 180.
Why did you subtract from 180?
I don't know.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, never mind. I thought we were on number 4.
No. The 3 angles of a triangle. This is today's lesson, and we're going to do a whole bunch of examples in a couple of minutes. Ready? But you get 2 more chances at this, so I don't really care. 3 angles of a triangle always add up to 180 degrees. Now that we're doing German angles today.
What does that mean?
180 degrees. The 3 angles of a triangle. Everybody say the 3 angles of a triangle? Add up to 180. Let's get a little more mathematical. We've got to sound like British proper. The sum of the 3 angles of a triangle is 180 degrees. Go ahead.
I can't do that.
Give it a shot. Gonna sound British. Ready? Everybody kind of stick your nose up in the air so you can see the boogies. Say the sum of the angles of a triangle. Angles of a triangle. Can't you see this on like BBC? The sum of the angles of a triangle is 180 degrees. Go ahead. Is what? 180 degrees. So, this guy, Chris did it exactly the right way. He said, look, I added these 2 up. 94 plus 23 is going to be 117. And then he took it away from 180 because they add up to 180. We're going to do 180 minus 117 is 63, so that when I put a 63 here, the 3 numbers add up to 180. Okay? So what do the 3 angles of a triangle add up to? 180. Very good. And that's all today's lesson is about. Now the next question I thought was the hardest question on the test. 2 angles are complementary. What does that mean? No, they're not the same. Congruent means the same. Complementary means what, everybody? Add up to 90. Look, ready? Some of you guys, as I'm looking at your work, it's starting to slip a little bit. We've got to get your head back in the game. Ready? Complementary comes before supplementary. Agree? I should say C comes before S in the alphabet, right? C stands for? What does C stand for? Complementary. What does S stand for? And then just like C comes before S, 90 comes before 180. So complementary means adds up to 90. Supplementary means adds up to 180. Now, how many angles here? 2. First angle, second angle. I don't know what the first angle is. I'm going to call it X. That's what I always call it when I don't know what it is. One measures 40 degrees. Oh, you know what? Oh, I might have graded this wrong.
Bruh.
If it stops you from getting 100, say something to me. I thought it said one was 40 more than the other. Okay, so I should get X plus 40 equals 90 minus the 40. X is 50. So the answer to number 4 should be 50. Okay. If you had 50 and I marked it wrong, I actually thought it was that one measures 40 degrees more than the other. I read it too quickly. Show me your paper later and I'll adjust. Last but not least, talk to me about those 2 angles. They add up to 180. They are supplementary. They make a straight line. Okay? So 180 minus 117, 63. Okay? Any questions? Good. So tomorrow you're going to get a quiz, and it's not going to be exactly like this. It's going to be a lot like this. The same kinds of questions, but usually, like I might change this to 30 or I might change this to 92. It's a little more different than that tomorrow. Yes? No. Now, today's lesson. Math 8, the 3 angles of a triangle. Step 1. The first thing we're going to do today is to realize why this works. Okay? Now, what do these 2 angles add up to? 180. So if this is 131, what's that guy? 49. Now, this guy's 73. Now, do you remember yesterday we talked about how if it makes a Z or a backward Z, they are what you call alternate interior because they're between the two lines, angles? Okay? So if this is 73, what's that? It's also 73. Another way to look at it is, if I did drag and drop, wouldn't the 73 land there?
Yep.
So doesn't that make them equal? Okay. So that, which also tells you the value of y. Now, these two are also alternate interior angles. So that's 49. Now, all three of these angles, what do they add up to? 180. And aren't these two always going to be equal? And aren't these two always going to be equal? And the 58 stays right where it is. So therefore, these three have to add up to 180 degrees. Okay? So the point behind the first diagram is to show you or to prove to you that you always have three angles of a triangle adding up to 180 degrees. Next up. I want to go forward and then come back to this. What's n in the first diagram? Right? What are we going to get in that first diagram now? Listen, cats. Right? Come on, a little bit of math work here. All right, what do these three angles add up to again, everybody? 180. So, do a little math here. I do 83 plus 35 is 118. Then I do 180 minus 118, and I get 62. How many people got that right? Negative?
I got negative. Put it all together.
You did it in the opposite order then. Okay, try the next one. You did it in the wrong order. 180 has to go first. Think about it. Can you have a negative angle? Not in a triangle anyway. Negative indicates direction.
Oh, it's weird. Feel like a negative.
It indicates direction for something we'll do when you get older, but for now, you're not getting negative angles. What do the three angles add up to? What do the three angles add up to?
45.
What do the three angles of a triangle? 180. Now, the two angles so far add up to 135. Then I do 180 minus 135,
45.
and I get 45. Very good. Any questions?
No, I got it.
Okay. Try this one. Right? Just write out an equation. Ethan, head in the game here. Write out an equation. Go with it, buddy. Okay, now, what we need to do is add up these three angles and get 180 degrees. So here's my first angle, my second angle, my third angle, the order doesn't matter. So the first angle, n plus 10, plus the second angle, n, plus the third angle, 130, is going to add up to 180 degrees. Is this the same side situation or an opposite side? Same side. So 1n plus another n is 2n. 10 and 130 is 140. Equals 180. Minus 140 from both sides. Die. 2n equals 40. Divide by 2. N is 20. But does that answer the question? No. It says, what's the measure of the largest angle? Which one's the largest angle? Well, this is n, so this is how big? 20. This is n plus 10, so this is how big? 30. What's the biggest? 130. In fact, I really didn't even need to do all that work to show that it was 130, because if you've got to add up to 180 and one of them is already 130, the other two can't possibly be bigger than that. That can never happen. Okay, number 4. Now, I want to talk to you about this one. I'm going to get you started, and then I'll let you finish it, and then we'll go back to those last two do-it questions, okay? The three angles of a triangle are in the ratio of 1 to 2 to 3. Find if this is an acute, a right, or an obtuse triangle. Now, we said to you guys the other day that whenever, Jason, whenever you get this kind of question where it says ratio 1 to 2 to 3, what you have to think is 1x, 2x, 3x, where that x is that something they share in common. And since there are three angles of a triangle, what do you know they have to add up to? 180. So 1x plus 2x plus 3x is 180. Why don't you figure it out? Go ahead. Okay. Same side, opposite side. Same side. So 1x plus 2x plus 3x adds up to? 6x's. Very good. Equals 180 divided by 6. X is 30. But that means that this angle's 1 times 30 is 30. This guy's 2 times 30, which is 60. And this guy's 3 times 30, which is 90. So what kind of angle is it? Is it a acute triangle? What kind of triangle, I should say? Is it acute? Is it right? Or is it obtuse? No, obtuse means it has an angle greater than 90 degrees. It's going to be a right triangle because of that 90-degree angle. Remember how when we do the Pythagorean theorem, we always draw the right angle in there? So it has to be a right triangle because it has the right angle. Okay. Now, so far we've worked on the idea that three angles of a triangle add up to 180. And now we're going to do a little bit more algebra with our stuff. Back to these. Two complementary angles are in the ratio of 2 to 7. What do you say automatically? They are what? Come on, we just did one ratios, Rach. Yes, they are going to add up to 90, but I need to do something with the 2 and the 7. What do I need to do? 2x and 7x. Good. So I add them up to get 90. 2x plus 7x is 90. 9x, is 90. Dividing by 9, x is 10. So what's this one? 20, and this one is 70. What's the larger angle? 70, because it says find the measure of the larger angle. Okay, good. Next one. One angle is 3 less than twice the other angle. How many angles are in this? 2. So we got first angle, and we have second angle. If I don't know what something is, I call it X or N, I'll call it X. The other one is 3 less than twice that angle. How would I write an expression for 3 less than twice X? 3 less than twice X. How do I write that? Sam Rivera, head of the game, stop playing with the calculator. How do I write 3 less than twice X? Is she?
2x minus.
Good. 2x minus 3. And then since they are supplementary, what do they add up to?
180.
180. So, x plus 2x minus 3 is 180. Is this the same side situation or an opposite side? Same side. 1x plus 2x is? 3x minus 3 is 180. Add the 3. 3x is 183. Divide by 3. X is 61. Find the measure of each angle. So this guy's 61. How do I find the second guy? Stephen, head in the game. How do I find the second angle? I know Rach knows. I'm looking for somebody else. Denise?
You substitute x with 61.
Right, you substitute it in. So 2 times 61 minus 3 is 122 minus 3, which is 119.
LOL.
Okay, what's that?
That's it. LOL. Never mind.
No.
Lol.
All right, so what we have here is the three angles of a triangle add up to 180 degrees. When you see the word ratio, make sure you put in the x's, 2x and 7x. That will cover the entire chapter of geometry. Everything we needed to know between transformations, translations, rotations, dilations, reflections, complementary, supplementary, vertical angles, parallel lines cut by a transversal, and the three angles of a triangle adding up to 180. So we're going to do a little bit of work. Oh, we have three-dimensional geometry to do yet too. We're going to do a little bit more work the next couple of days, and then a test on Thursday next week. Make sure those calculators go in the correct place.